Hello everyone, this is Joanna from Hustle Got Real. In this video, I would like to review the eBay account settings, especially for those of you who are just starting out. The idea is to review the most important points and explain you what each of them is for. So if you can, I would suggest you to log in your eBay store and follow the video with me so we can optimize your store settings together. To get started, we're going to click here at the top left corner to access our account settings. Then we'll go to the selling section and click on seller account. And here we're going to choose to edit our site preferences. So to get started, I will go through the selling preferences section. Here you have the option to show the exact quantity of items in your listing if the quantity exceeds 10. So I would basically change this to a yes and choose display the exact quantity in your listings. Why? Because you are usually going to be putting 1 or 2 items in stock from that listing at a time. So this can create a sense of urgency if the buyer sees there is only 1 or 2 items on your store, so they can decide to buy the product faster due to that feeling. I suggest you mark this option and then you click on submit. Here, there is one of the most important options you need to make sure you have enabled, which is the use out of stock option. Make sure you mark this as a yes. Why? Because if you list an item and your quantity is 1, let's say, then when that item is sold, your quantity will be updated to 0. And if you don't have this feature enabled, eBay will mark your item and we deactivate it. This means that you will need to release that item to put it back in stock. And eBay can charge you between 5 to 30 cents for that process. So if you click on this option and you have it set up to yes, when your listing, which quantity is 1, is sold, then the quantity will just be marked as 0 and your item will show as out of stock. But you will not need to pay to release that item. You will be able to just update the quantity manually back to 1 or whatever the stock of that item is. So please make sure you have this marked as a yes. Here we have the selling manager section. It's important that you have these features activated. Deleting scheduled listings, deleting unsold items, archiving sold items. I suggest you to have all of these marked as a yes, because all of these are actions that cannot be undone. So this way you make sure that you have a window coming up to ensure that you are doing that action intentionally. Then here we have a setting where we can go to manage communication with buyers. So if we click here, we will go to this window. I suggest that you have all of these features activated so that eBay can automatically follow up with the buyer at different stages of the purchase. This gives the buyer the security that they have made their purchase correctly and safely. eBay will notify the buyer at different stages. The most important feature here is that you make sure you have this set up to yes. Why? Because you can choose to have a send or payment reminder if your buyer hasn't paid after a couple of days. What does this do? Basically, if someone does not pay the item after 4 days, eBay will automatically send them an unpaid reminder. And if they don't pay, then PayPal will cancel the order and you will not have to pay fees for that. If you do not do so, you will have to do all these processes manually, and this can take up to some minutes of your day. So it's always better to have all these processes automated. Okay, so we make sure we have these to yes. So therefore we can forget a bit about the follow-up with all our buyers. We go back to our eBay account and then we have our payment from buyers. Here, make sure you have offer PayPal on my listings, display PayPal as preferred on my listings, and include my items when buyers pay all their sellers at once using PayPal set up to yes. All of them, I suggest you set them up to yes. Why? Because if you accept credit or debit cards, you would have to make sure that your merchant has an authorized network, so it's always better to do it through PayPal. Please make sure that you have your PayPal account connected to your eBay account. Otherwise, you will not be able to list or sell any item. It's very important that you know that PayPal keeps the money of the products you buy for 21 days. So when you sell a product, you will have to wait 21 days without being able to access that money. Some of you just don't know that previously, so it's very important that you bear that in mind. Then we will go to postage and packaging preferences. We click here and we access this section. Here we have the global shipping program option. I highly suggest you to mark the global shipping program. Why? Because it allows you to sell items in other countries without having to ship it there. How is that possible? Because eBay has their own warehouse. Basically, if you have this feature on, your item will be listed in other countries. Once the item is sold, eBay will provide you with an address. So you can ship it there, and then eBay receives it, and they will reship it to your customer's address. If you don't activate this, you could be missing out a lot of sales because you're not getting to show your products to buyers in other countries. So I suggest you mark this as a yes. Here in Global Shipping Program Preferences, you see that you have an option to opt out the Global Shipping Program. If you click here, at step 3, you will be able to exclude shipping locations. What does this mean? This means that you can exclude countries where you don't want to be selling your product. So we would say it's a filter for the global shipping program. This could be because maybe some countries might not be shipping to other countries. So this would really depend on where you're selling or where you want to sell. But you can apply your filters here. In any case, I always recommend you have the global shipping program enabled. So here we also have the click and collect option. If we click here, we see that this could help your sales because buyers love this option enabled, so they have more flexibility when picking up their items. So I suggest you have that turned on too. Once we've gone through these settings, we can go back to our eBay account preferences. And I would say these are the most important settings that you should make sure you have configured before you start selling on eBay. I hope this video helps. Do not hesitate to ask us any further questions, and good luck with your sales.